President, we're ready for you.
Our guests have arrived.
I'd like to welcome you to the White House, sir. Sir, there's been an intrusion. Let's go. Move.
White House is taken over by a mad Korean terrorist, and the only hope for the country is a Scotsman with a fake-ass American accent.
I do like how Gerard Butler is good about hiding his Scottish accent for a while.
I was about to say, boy, about 2 minutes.
I've seen him like on an interview show how easily he can go back and forth. But this time, I guess, like maybe the character was written as Scottish and they changed it and they forgot to tell him.
Oh yeah, he can hide it when he's not on screen. When he's hiding, outside of that, forget about it.
Yeah, when they don't have a mic taped to him, yeah.
When he has no dialogue, he's excellent at not being Scottish.
But I tell you what. Say what you will about Gerard Butler, and I'm only speaking for myself. He was a bad motherfucker in this movie.
Oh, yeah, he was. It's about time. This motherfucking, I was like, okay, how come every time I go into a romantic comedy, Gerard Butler is on the screen?
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man, get out of the beauty shop and get into the gun shop. That's where you belong. I don't know who your agent is, but this is all wrong. And thank God, after tonight, this really solidified my thought about Gerard Butler needs to be the new action star we've been waiting for. We've been hoping for. It's about goddamn time. Somebody woke up.
Wait, let's not get carried away here.
No, I will.
No, I mean, I agree with you. He was pretty good in this. This is maybe even his best role. But that being said, he is not the action star we've all been waiting for. That's going too far.
Co-host has.
Look, man, Batman's retired. All right, I'm not asking for much.
I get where you're coming from because you want the dream so bad that if you even get a little morsel, you want to blow it up and go like, no, the Messiah has come. I know. He's arrived.
It's like finally we see another good Die Hard film.
I know.
Well, good.
No, co-host, if I can't have Batman, I'll take Scotsman.
I like that, Corey. I like
Thank you. Does that meet the co-host 2000 seal of approval there?
You can put your piece of paper behind.
I know. I wrote that down, man. But man, I agree with you. You actually make a fine point there, co-host, because I said, man, ever since you kicked that man in that hole in 300, I ain't seen you really do anything badass since then. You trying to be all romantic and funny and shit?
Yeah,
come on, man.
There's plenty of other dopes for that kind of crap. Yeah.
Like, how long did it take for him to answer a call from Antoine Fuqua? Is that his name? Who's like, yeah, why haven't you guys worked together before this?
Yeah.
Now, next time, get a writer.
Well, that is true. I mean, you are right. You are right. Anytime you have the fate of the globe, global disaster resting on the skills of one lone man. Yeah.
Banning was one of our best agents.
Mr. Speaker, I just have to say, this is Mike Banning. Is this the same guy that was removed from the president's detail after the accident where we lost the first lady?
Well, what's he doing in the White House I suggest you get the facts straight.
How do we know we can trust this guy?
Banning is ex-Special Forces, Ranger Battalion. He will move mountains or die trying. I know him.
Does anyone else in this room have any intelligence coming out of the White House? Then we have no choice.
Bullshit, all right? I get it.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, it's Die Hard in the White House, but you know what? I like Die Hard, and when you blow up the White House, hey, I like that too.
Well,
all right?
it's a Die Hard sequel in the White House.
It might as well have been Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
to me, I feel like I was at a party with Antoine Fuqua, and we were both talking about what bullshit Red Dawn was. Like, yeah, man, that was it was so unrealistic and so jingoistic to the point where you couldn't even believe it. I know, right? Man, you should make a better movie than that. I'd do it too.
Yeah, he actually does it.
Yeah, and I walked away, and he went like, yeah, I'm a Die Hard that shit. I was like, what'd you say? Nothing.
Yeah. Did you hear the part where we were complaining about it being jingoistic and unrealistic? No.
My favorite part is when he actually called Morgan Freeman and go, hey, man, what are you doing? Oh, yeah? You want to play the president again?
Again?
Yeah. Of course.
Sure. I love Morgan Freeman. Through half this movie, he just had the look on his face like, why does the world go to shit every time I'm the president?
Yeah, exactly.
I was getting ready for him to go, I'm getting too old for this shit.
But here, You got Gerard Butler as a Secret Service agent. I mean, he's got even an action hero's name, Mike Banning.
Oh yeah, I know. I was like,
You only hear it about 10 times at the beginning.
Banning. I know they keep saying it. Banning.
Yeah.
Banning.
Are you there, Banning? Yeah.
God damn it, Bannon. It's like, should you be protecting Johnny Quest? What's going on?
But he was on presidential detail, and Aaron Eckhart, he's the president here. And man, they getting along cool. They're like, hey, you know what, man? You're my buddy. You're my pal. Until you let my wife die by slipping off the road in the car. But I mean,
Hey, what was he supposed to do?
Yeah,
he was in a spot. He
they're
did
on-
what he was supposed to
They're
do.
on their way to some dinner function fundraiser thing, and it's on a slippery road. Something falls from the sky, branch or whatever, and all these cars go off the road. Aaron Eckhart and his wife, played by what's that girl?
Ashley Judd.
Ashley Judd, which I'm surprised they only had in the movie for only so long.
Hey man, Morgan Freeman was there. She was obligated to show up.
That is true.
Yes. He got her the gig. Yeah. Ain't much, but hey.
And after when they're together, a car goes off a bridge into the water.
That is true.
Wow.
It was almost like Ashley Judd just showed up long enough to have sex with Morgan Freeman and just left.
You were like the Rosetta Stone of their combined acting career.
But-
And she just recently got divorced, so maybe it was a booty call. He's like, well, look, we're shooting this movie.
That's I'm at Olympus has fallen.
6
See me on the set,
It's like
babe.
6 degrees of Ashley Judd.
Yeah, but so the car goes off the road. Gerard Butler's trying to save both of them, but he can only save Aaron Eckhart, and he cannot get to the wife, and it goes down. She dies. Cuts to about 18 months later or something. He's been put off presidential detail. He's been put at a desk job. He's like, I got to get back in, though. I got to do something. Well, hey, lucky for you that the White House just got taken over by a Korean terrorist named Kang.
I know. I love that. That was like the best.
Yeah. It's like, wait, is this the same guy who fights the Avengers?
I was just hoping at some point somebody would say, "Don't blame me. I voted for Kodos."
Well, I just love the fact that, when the action starts in this movie, I was praying to God that somebody would scream, Cobra!
Yeah, it was like
Shit,
that.
man.
But
It would have been more realistic had it been Cobra.
yeah.
The way this whole attack happened.
But you didn't get Cobra. You got Kang, the man who's named after a sound effect. But yeah, played by this guy, Rick Yoon. That handsome guy, But
Sure.
seen him in a lot of
Yeah, he's
stuff.
in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, isn't there a Fast and the Furious movie across town you should be shooting in?
I
Yeah.
think his first big role was the villain in Die Another Day. He
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
guy
I
with
remember
all the
that.
diamonds in his face.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought he was the
but-
guy who served me at the Chinese buffet.
Oh, man, come on. Stop that.
Hey, he's working. He's always working. That's why I like him.
Now, do you have information? Is that guy Korean? Because I always thought he was Japanese.
I don't know what he is. You know what he is? He's badass and scary.
Yeah, he's an
And
actor.
he's so badass, he can take over the White House. I mean, most people just come here and try to blow up a few other buildings, but he said, fuck that. I'm going straight for the White House. And
My house.
He might be able to get away with it, but all fucked up for him is Bannon he's having lunch right across the street. So, in all the chaos, Bannon gets in, he gets to the White House, and he starts doing his thing, taking out Koreans one by one until he works his way up to the main guy. I know this is dumb. I'm telling you how dumb it is. I mean, what do you expect from a movie, like I said, where a guy can go into the White House and just kill hundreds of terrorists when you have armies of people who can't do it?
Well, now, didn't he start out with an army of about 50 people, and then by the end, it's only like 7 guys?
Who is that?
Kang.
Well, it varies on screen.
It does.
repeatedly,
It does.
Yeah.
Like when that coordinated attack, it's almost like you got 100 guys who you don't see get killed, most of them, and yet by the end, it's down to only 7 dudes. I'm like, what happened to all those other?
Don't think too hard. You're going to hurt
You know what
yourself
happened?
in this movie.
Bannon killed them all. That's what happened.
That's the thing, though. Like a film like this that has this super elaborate plan with all these different stages of it that all have to work perfectly
Yeah.
for the plan to come together. And yet every single stage of the plan has this really, like, if you think about it for a half a second, there's no way that would fucking work. Type of part to
It's
it.
hard. I mean, like, I didn't want to sit there nitpicking it, but in this post 9/11 world we live in, you just I couldn't help but go like, there's no way they would be allowed to get this close.
Of course not. And when you see the trailer, I mean, they immediately let you know. I mean, when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, this looks like it's going to be a balls to the wall, summer blockbuster movie that they're putting out right now in March. And I mean, the thing is, when that whole sequence starts of the siege of the White House, I have to tell you, dude, I was glued to my goddamn seat and I was going, oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. Oh, damn. Ooh, man, it was chaos on the screen, yet it was controlled chaos.
You know what
the
they
kind
did?
of chaos that I like, that where, when you see teams and vehicles and people getting killed, you're like, damn.
What they did was they took what sold Independence Day. They blew up the White House, and that would have made everybody say, damn, I gotta go see that. But they took that and they just expanded into a whole sequence. Because I think the action here is cool. I mean, you're right, Cyrus. So it's the writing that's terrible.
Yeah, no, because the action on the whole is film cool. There are some points they get a little too big for their britches, and rather than use miniatures for big destroy Washington D.C. landmarks, they clearly use CG and not good CG.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I was looking at it, I was like, you know what? I would be able to enjoy this sequence, except it's so obviously CG.
It's really fake
like everything, like the monuments being destroyed, every vehicle, every gun, all the blood. I was like, I'm waiting for this to be over.
Now, y'all know ain't nobody going to use miniatures today when they got a computer.
No, hey, I ain't saying use miniatures, but I'm just saying it just looked
But
too
you know,
fake.
better
It
job.
was almost like an animated cartoon.
I agree, but for some reason, it was still effective on me. I mean, because I always think about, the aesthetic of how's it going to look if they're using computers versus models or whatever. But, I mean, even when they do use models, you can – at some point you're going to tell, okay, that's a model. But as long as, like I said, the action is fast-paced moving, doesn't give you enough time to stop and question the effects. As long as it's doing its job, just getting you into the story immediately, I am down for that.
Wow. Had enough time for me to question it. But that being said, when the film gets more up close and personal, when it really goes full Die Hard, where he's in the White House and he's got to sneak around, he's got to do these various things, well, he's the only guy they got talking to poor, bedraggled Speaker of the House. Morgan Freeman is like, this isn't my job. What the fuck?
Well, even worse.
It gets
you
much
got,
better.
You got Robert Forster as the I don't know who the main general is.
Yeah.
The worst general ever.
General Clegg.
Yeah, General Clegg. He's like a villain himself.
I'm about to say,
is he a Klingon ambassador?
I know. I'm just supposed to be with the Koreans. You got the name for it. And no, it's if you start questioning things, I think in this movie, then that's where it's going to lose you, because I don't think the movie wants you to question anything. I think the movie...
Shut up. Vote American. This is all American.
What do you mean that's not possible? Wait, here's a CG shot of the American flag all shot up, falling in slow motion from the top of the White House. There, now shut up and salute.
See, man, every
terrorists.
time they would do shit like that, I'm like, I don't appreciate this manipulation that you're trying to do.
Well, and I know why they did it, because we are above that. You're right. See people in the movie, they take about 2 or 3 times to show you the American flag practically dying. That's the part where they threw the American flag off the White House, and the American flag is like, but there's certain dramatic parts in here that are terrible and hokey. Some of the dialogue is so bad, there's no way you can deliver it and not have it sound terrible. Leon and I were laughing because there's a guy who looks at the camera, he looks right at the camera and says, they've totally taken over the White House. Do you remember that extra that they had that was in the hospital? So during the scene where they're taking over the White House, they're killing all these civilians. There's this aircraft, the Korean aircraft that comes in. They're just mowing people down. So the hospital emergency room is full of all these people who are injured and dying. And there's one scene where...
Well, old man.
where Gerard Butler, he's talking to his wife. Who was that actress?
Rhoda Mitchell.
Yeah, Rhoda Mitchell. He's talking to her, and she's trying to have a deep, heartfelt conversation. There's this old extra in the background, like, I'm hurting.
Yeah, that's great. About to give him a shot, and they say like, "Hey, it's a phone call from you, from your husband," and she's looking like, "I should take that." And he's like, I'm dying.
Good luck to you and your problems over there.
That's like the most easily distracted hospital staff, because throughout there are all these scenes where they're just watching the TV and there's all these bloody people all around them. They're like, wow, that's like, will you get back to work, please?
I love the fact that I love the fact that they actually gave some attention, because they didn't have to go back to the hospital regardless of the guy's wife or whatever. I just like seeing everyone crying in complete pain as they went down the hallway of that hospital where everyone is screaming, blah. I'm like, damn, that's fucked up what those guys did. Those guys need to get what's coming to them.
See, you know what? That's why it worked, man, because they gave us villains that, I mean, most of them, okay, see, that almost all of them are henchmen. And if you really look at the movie, it's G.I. Joe where people actually get killed or hit.
Is.
I mean, because in G.I. Joe, the soldiers run, nobody gets hit. It's the same kind of thing here, except people actually get hit with bullets and die. But so all the Koreans, most of them except for King, they're almost all just faceless, nameless henchmen. But damn, I hated them for some reason. That Melissa Leo, I don't know what she plays in the movie, but
she's a secretary.
Okay, but they pick her up and they just beat the shit out of her.
I know. It's one of those things like what they did in the Rambo the Rambo film, where they just had these guys like blow away a shitload of people. You see people in the streets dying, got huge holes in their chest, and especially when it comes down to when they're going to torture everyone else by basically getting an old lady and beating the living shit out of her just to let them know, hey, we're not fucking around and we don't give a fuck.
And they beat her within an inch of her life, and it was at that moment I said, Gerard Butler, destroy them.
Yeah, that is where you are rooting. You are rooting for the guy to fuck him up in the worst way at the end of the movie.
And on a simplistic level, that does in fact work. And I agree with you. I mean, I couldn't turn off my, God, that would never work throughout it, but I still went, all right. For what they're trying to do, they're more or less succeeding. And that's largely because Gerard Butler, when it's him saying one-liners, which are surprisingly entertaining and well delivered, and killing people in an incredibly brutal, no holds barred. I mean, this is Liam Neeson from Taken. If he was in there, just going, "Look, I'm not interested in fucking around with you people. I'm just going to kill you and move on to the next."
He is ruthless. He's cold-blooded,
and that's like, stop fucking with that guy and just kill him. You're not a cat.
That guy, Gerard Butler's character knows how to stick it to you in the worst way. He not only can he fucking kill terrorists, but he can also kill zombies.
That's why that is why we love Liam Neeson and Taken. I think that's why I love Gerard Butler here, because you're exactly right. Mostly when we see guys sitting around getting in some yelling match or trying to reason with bad guys, we say, man, just kill them.
Yeah. He does. I mean, especially when it comes down to like getting the job done, you're so used to having a hero who will try to reason with people or trick them. And he's not about that. He's a soldier. He's special forces. He knows what needs to be done. He'll kill him in a brutal way. He doesn't sit there laughing about it or making a one-liner after it. And yeah, I agree. I love Gerard Butler in this movie. I like his character. I like the setup for his character. I was like, oh, this is all really good. Unfortunately, it made me think it was going to be a realistic movie as opposed to more of a cartoon. But in the third act, where it comes back to focusing on him, I thought it was good again.
Well, he plays the character you want to be. I mean, he really does. And
I won't go that far.
Yeah.
Really? You wouldn't want to outsmart terrorists and like beat the shit out of him?
I knew I couldn't
in the movie.
So,
yeah, exactly.
That's why it's a movie.
I know. Well, that's the thing. It's a fantasy, and I think that's part of the fun about it. Is it's a complete fantasy. And what I love about characters like he's playing, he is playing a goddamn Snake Plissken, the diehard fucking John. Yeah, I mean John McClane. Yeah, I mean he's playing that guy that every kids watching this fucking movie are gonna go, I want to be this fucking guy. I want to be him because he can outsmart the bad guys. And you know what? He's still a cool guy to hang around. He's like he's not really sweating about anything. He has his objectives. He lets everyone know, and he even lets the bad guys know. And I love that.
But see, that's why we want that, because in real life, you talk shit to a terrorist, chances are you're going to die. Yeah. But Gerard Butler,
get somebody else killed.
He can get on a monitor and just tell the bad guy, you know what? I'm going to fuck you up.
I'm honest,
coming for you.
Some of those little smart ass comments he made got somebody killed on air.
Well, you know what?
That one guy who got shot in the brain probably didn't appreciate it too much.
That's when you know, man, these terrorists need to get it good.
I know that guy was about to get shot, like, Patty, shut up, man. Come on, man.
But I do.
He's just playing. But you know, I'm not with him.
There was because of that kind of the idea of consequences, due to whatever the hero is saying. I thought there was a great scene that they had in this that really, like, man, that's smart. That's something really clever and smart to do, just as opposed to what you normally see in action movies where you're like, okay, I see where this is going. But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it definitely, despite it being fucking ridiculous, I get it. I mean, there was so much this movie had going for it, like with the action and the characters. I mean, and I think that's really, it was its strong suit, is that they actually got a good cast of characters to play these roles that if they were played by anyone else, I don't know if we'd care that much about it.
Well, that is true. I mean, I thought it was kind of almost silly to bring Morgan Freeman in as the president. It's almost as if the people in the movie said, "Hey, man, didn't you stop that comet? Yeah, come on, man. We need your help. Bring it." There's even a shot in the movie where they bring him in. They say, "Hey, you president now?" He's like, "What the fuck? I know. I was just going to the bathroom, man."
And he said they're looking sad the whole time. Why did I agree to this?
I think because usually when you see him in this type of role, he's more like, I'm taking charge. And here he's like, I am half asleep until that one good scene he gets when he gets to tell off the general asshole. And I was like, all right, that one you got.
General incompetence.
General incompetence. Exactly.
To have the names that they do in the movie, there's certain parts they don't do too much with them. Morgan Freeman, except for him yelling at the general, he doesn't get to do a whole lot. Melissa Leo is a big enough actress now to where she really does do nothing but get the shit beat out of her in this movie. And there's some other people that are in the movie I don't want to mention. They serve a function, but the function they serve is more plot device type stuff instead of actually being characters.
Yeah, and you know, without revealing anything about this, 2 minutes into the movie,
I was saying, did you say 10? I was like about 1 minute.
No, like a minute into the movie, I said, that's going to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I was like, you know what? They should have cast somebody else.
Or had him make such a familiar action movie pattern that before we even get to that point, you're like, well, one of these, there's too many recognizable faces for one of them not to be a turn.
Because this movie is really, it's made up of a bunch of different movies. And one of the movies it's made up of is Air Force One.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that guy right there.
And this thing, when you don't have your guy who's supposed to be the secret villain make a villainous entrance.
Exactly.
You know, he comes in the room, he in the room in shadow. We're waiting for you, Mr. President. He floated back out. He kind of gave it away there.
Like, they even CG'd him, all those swarming shadow creatures around him. I mean, what were those supposed to be?
I was like, when are these guys going to put on their Cobra mask already? Like, come on, man, just do it.
I don't know, man. This is
Skeletor mask de rigueur for Secret Service agents these days?
No, this is a cartoon translation. It's half a bad movie and half a good movie. Where it's supposed to be realistic, or it's supposed to have a good script, or it's supposed to have good dialogue and well-written characters. No, they don't give a shit about that. They just said, fuck that. We're blowing up the White House, and we got a guy in there kicking ass. And if you can appreciate that, then this is for you, and that is who I am. I really enjoyed the action in this. And I enjoyed finally seeing Gerard Butler go in and be a badass again. So, I mean, with that said, don't come and tell me, man, you like that bullshit? I know it's bullshit, but it's fun bullshit. And fun bullshit, that raises it up to a low matinee for me.
Wow. You like that bullshit?
But it's good bullshit, which equals a matinee.
I'm very confused about our new ratings.
You like my mathematics there? I got the formula for you.
You know what? It's hard for me to argue with anything you just said, because you're right about it being a good movie and a bad movie. And I think for me, probably the bad stuff sort of slightly outweighed the good. It was one of these things where it started with such a more realistic type beginning that I expected a movie on that level. But then the way it ended up, I was like, you know what? If this movie, if it had James Bond or Cobra or the puppets from Team America, I would be with it. But it goes to such an unrealistic place that I was just like, man, y'all are just like, you're really trying to repel me out of it. But the third act, when it focuses on Gerard Butler, it does get better. But at the same time, the fight scenes were shot poorly. They were dark. Everything was too close. So it's like, I know these are well choreographed fight scenes. I just wish I could see what was actually happening. It's fun at times, but ultimately for me, it's more of a high rental.
Okay.
I kind of agree with things that both of y'all said, so now I have no idea what to do. But you know, when people come to you with a film like, oh man, don't be like that. You just got to turn your brain off sometimes and go for the ride. And that always irritates me either because A, look man, I can suspend my disbelief when it's called for, or B, what are you, an idiot? This whole movie was totally stupid. This is somewhere in between those two things. Because there is a lot, so much of that you've got to turn your brain off for to buy, that it just builds up to a point I'm like, the rest of this better be good. and honestly, the most important thing for a film like this is that your star be really likable, be very charismatic, be very believable in his action scenes, and have a ton of good one-liners. And Gerard Butler completely, I can't believe it, he wins a second chance because of this movie. You better not ever work with Katherine Heigl again is all I'm saying. But you get one more chance because of this movie, because you were so good in this that it actually, almost him alone, and a certain degree of like, well, when you have a body count this high, I'm sorry, I'm a monster. I'm like, all right, you get an extra star for that too. It raises it up to about a low matinee for me overall.
All right. Wow, you surprised me with that one.
Yeah, it was one of those, I know this isn't a good movie, and yet I certainly did get some enjoyment out of it. Right. Enough to say, you should see it in the theater.
I know a good movie when it's good, and I thought this was awesome. I
don't know what that means, but sure.
No, I mean, I will say no. It's everything that trailer sold me on. It's everything I wanted to see and a little bit more, and I have to give the movie credit that, it knew how to move along. There's no point in this movie that it ever bored me to death or got slow or it got so ridiculous. I mean, yeah, the whole premise in itself is ridiculous. And I dig that. You know, if you're going to do something, you know, you better fucking wow me. And this movie wowed me to no end. And yeah, like you said, Corey, it is about fucking time Gerard Butler finally did something that he was born to goddamn do, and that is to blow motherfuckers up and stab them full of holes.
Is that what he was born to do?
Yeah, no, I mean, no, yeah. If you're gonna fucking turn the White House into Swiss cheese, this motherfucker's gonna turn you into Swiss cheese. And I love that sentiment. I love that message, and I love America. So I am giving it a full fucking price. Yes.
Wouldn't he turn you into like haggis or something?
Somebody out there is gonna like it. I guess that's me.
Abort! Abort! We're talking about the safety of the President of the United States. We're talking about a hell of a lot more than that, sir. Just open the gates of hell.
The United States of America doesn't negotiate with terrorists.
Who said anything about negotiating?